Hi, welcome to our cooking show today. Today we're going to be going over how to successfully package up a construction loan and submit it for underwriting. Now we're going to be following a recipe that you can get off of our homepage at ccsloans.com under the Forms tab. And it's called the Submission Form. The Submission Form gives you the stacking order here on the right hand side of all the ingredients and docs you need to put in your construction loan. Now as you notice our kitchen setup here, we've got some ingredients spread out here, our tools to package up the construction loan. But one thing you'll notice is that there's no appraisal anywhere in these docs. And that is because CCS has to directly order the appraisal and we put it in the construction file afterwards. All appraisals must be prepaid, and that usually happens after the time that the construction loan has been submitted successfully. So another thing I wanted to mention is kitchen safety. Because anytime you're around sharp objects, hot ovens and loans, there's an opportunity for danger, and you must be very careful. The last thing you want to do is end up cutting 2 fingers off because you let a little fraud spill into your file. Now, a little bit of fraud can make the entire construction loan rancid, and that's something to keep in mind. So here we've separated our construction loan ingredients into 5 categories. The first category, CCS internal docs. Second, long-term loan docs. Our collateral docs, builder information, and insurance information. Now all of these combine to give you one tasty construction loan that has a high likelihood of success, of being approved. Okay, so let's get started with our CCS internal docs here. Now these ingredients you cannot find at your local grocery store. They actually can be found only on our website, ccsloans.com. Now the first doc here is the submission form. The submission form is actually our recipe, gives us a stacking order of all the list of the ingredients that we need, and it gives us a snapshot of the loan and some helpful items for the underwriter to know about the loan request. The second form is the broker fee sheet, and this might be the most important form in the whole construction loan because this tells us what you're going to get paid as a broker. You list out the fees that you want to have us collect, and we collect that from the borrower and pay you. And our experience has shown that if you don't get paid on the construction loan, it really loses its sweetness and only a bitter aftertaste will remain. So you want to make sure you include that. The third is a cost to build worksheet. Now don't be confused with the cost breakdown, which is actually in the collateral section. The cost to build worksheet is a worksheet that helps you integrate soft costs into the builder's cost breakdown and lets you know the final project costs in your budget. It helps you understand what cash to close requirement there is, if any. Now once we have these 3 docs ready, we're just going to get them on our spatula here. Be careful not to spill. We're going to take them over to our 2-hole punch. Get them ready. Now the most important thing is to flip them upside down, because once we get done, the last thing you want to submit is an upside down construction loan to the underwriter. That'll get you off on the wrong foot. So now we're ready for our long-term loan docs. And really the long-term loan docs really form the meaty center of your construction loan file and are really important. First we've got our 1003 and our 1008. Now those are going to be generated from your origination software that you use. You'll be very familiar with those. Next, you're going to want to fold in the credit report and make sure that the liabilities match your application to the credit report. The third thing is your long-term approval. Now, your long-term approval will be generated from an automated system like LP or DO. And there's a couple things you want to keep in mind on the long-term approval. First, if they have a current house to sell, you're going to want to include that house payment into your ratios as well as the construction loan or the new home payment. The second thing is you want to be able to meet all the conditions on your long-term loan approval at the time of construction. For instance, if the conditions require $20,000 in reserves and they only have $10,000 in reserves, we cannot approve the file hoping that during the construction process they're going to save an extra $10,000. So we've got to make sure that we meet all the requirements right up front for the long-term loan. Now once we have those ready, we've got to be sure to chop up some income and asset documentation and make sure that we've got all the statements, W-2s, tax returns if necessary, bank statements, that you have disclosed on your application so that we can prove that income and asset documentation to the underwriter. Once we have those ready, I'm going to also take those very carefully. You don't want to cross-contaminate the file here. And we want to punch some holes in there, and again, put them in upside down. It's a very important piece so that we follow our submission form and everything is in order. So now we're on to the collateral section, which, as if you remember, does not include an appraisal at this time. CCS will order that directly from the appraiser, and that usually takes about 4 to 5 days, but can vary based on the altitude and the age of your oven. So your collateral section is going to include a set of the plans, which does not really need to be engineered, but a complete set nonetheless. It's going to include the purchase contract of the lot or the settlement statement for the lot if they already have title. But the most important part of your collateral section here is going to be the cost breakdown. Now the cost breakdown you're going to get from the builder, and it's usually going to be on their form. That's fine, you can just leave it right on their form to put in your construction loan. The CCS underwriter will put that into our own software to create the project budget that they will get at closing. So we take those docs. We want to make sure that they're all in order again. You don't want to have an upset underwriter by having an out-of-order file. Now we're on to the builder docs. Now the builder docs, as well as the insurance, we can actually add to the construction loan after it's been submitted, if you're in a hurry to get it in line in underwriting. But for these purposes, we're going to add them to our file here today. And we start off with the contract between the borrower and the builder. Now the contract should spell out the price of the home. We're going to notice if it's a fixed bid or a cost plus arrangement. And we want to make sure that that matches our cost breakdown that was in our collateral section. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to also put in the builder questionnaire. Now the builder questionnaire is a little questionnaire the builder fills out about their history, some references in order for our underwriter to get to know them and to feel comfortable with them building the collateral of the loan. After the builder questionnaire, we're going to add a copy of the contractor's license to our file, and then we're going to take that here, make sure that it's all in order, punch our holes. And again, see, I almost messed up there. We want to put that upside down in our construction file. Now for our insurance docs over here in the blue bowl, there could be 3 types of insurance that you need to include in your construction loan, but always there will be 2. Now the first, course of construction insurance. It can also be called hazard insurance, homeowner's insurance, but this is really the fire insurance required on the property during the course of construction. Now, the second type of insurance that needs to be carried is liability insurance. Now, if the project has a general contractor, this type of insurance will be carried by the builder on a separate policy that they have. In the case of an owner-builder project, this insurance will be added to the course of construction in the amount of $300,000, right on the course of construction policy. Now, the last type of insurance is workers' compensation insurance. Now this insurance only needs to be carried if the builder has employees working on the project. If they do not have any employees and sub all the work out, then workers' compensation insurance is not required. So we're going to take our blue bowl here with our insurance docs. Also take those here. Punch our holes in. Add lightly to the construction loan file. Leave that in to bake. Now, the standard cooking time for a construction loan is about a week after we've received the appraisal. But again, because of altitude, maybe the age of your oven, emergencies, or just plain by begging the construction underwriter, we've seen them bake in a lot less time. So when they are ready, we've got a complete construction loan right here. Look at this one. Smells like an approval.